10 rock songs that dominated the 1960s and still hit hard today. You know that opening riff? The one that cuts through a crowded bar, a car radio, a grocery store speaker, and you stop what you're doing. These aren't nostalgia tracks. They're songs that owned the charts 60 years ago and still command the room right now. Songs that launched careers, destroyed instruments on stage, and refused to get old. Let's dig in. Number 10, House of the Rising Sun, The Animals, 1964.
In God, I know I won.
The Animals recorded House of the Rising Sun in one take, But here's what nobody tells you about that session. They almost didn't record it at all. May 1964. The Animals were on tour with Chuck Berry, closing every night with this 4.5-minute folk song about a New Orleans brothel. Crowds went silent, not bored silent, transfixed silent. Producer Mickey Most thought they were crazy. Too long for radio, wrong subject matter, would never work on the pop charts. The engineer said the same thing, but the band refused to back down. They drove straight from a Liverpool gig to a London studio, set up for balance, played it once. Most listened back and said, that's it. It's a single. 3 weeks later, it knocked the Beatles off number 1 in the UK. 2 months after that, it did the same thing in America. And here's the part that changed everything. Bob Dylan heard it on his car radio, pulled over, and started banging on the hood of his car. Within months, Dylan went electric. The folk rock revolution started right there. One song, one take, 4 minutes and 40 seconds that flipped the switch. You've heard that arpeggiated A minor chord 1,000 times. Hilton Valentine's guitar intro is tattooed into rock history. Eric Burdon's voice, not singing, howling through the pain of someone who knows exactly what that house feels like. Alan Price's organ grinding underneath like a funeral march. If you've ever heard a song and felt it rewire something in your brain, you know what House of the Rising Sun does. It's the first time an electric rock band made a folk song dangerous. The first time 4.5 minutes felt like 30 seconds, still does. Number 9, You Really Got Me, The Kinks, 1964.
Yeah, you really got me now. You got me.
The Kinks recorded You Really Got Me twice before they got it right, and even then their record label refused to pay for the session. Here's the situation. June 1964. 2 failed singles, labels losing patience. Producer Shel Talmy records the song, buries the guitar in reverb, slows it down.
Oh yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I
The Kinks hate it. Ray Davies tells the label he won't perform the song, won't promote it, won't do anything unless they re-record. The label says no. Management says no. Everyone says no. Ray doesn't blink. Management finally pays for this session themselves just to break the deadlock. July 13th, 1964. The Kinks walk into the studio with one mission: make the dirtiest, rawest guitar sound anyone's ever heard. Dave Davis, 17 years old, takes a razor blade to his amplifier speaker, slashes it. Some people say Ray used knitting needles. Dave insists it was a razor. Either way, what came out of that mutilated amp changed rock forever. That power chord riff, perfect fifths and octaves, distorted to hell, becomes the blueprint. The Stones hear it and write Satisfaction. The Who hear it and push harder. Jimi Hendrix hears it. Jimmy Page hears it. Every garage band in America hears it and thinks, we can do that. The song hits number 1 in the UK, number 7 in the US, but the chart position doesn't tell the real story. What tells the story is this. Van Halen covered it in 1978 and people thought they were covering Van Halen when the Kinks played it live.
They got me now. They got me so I don't know what I'm doing.
If you've ever cranked a guitar through a blown speaker and felt that crunch, you're playing with a sound Dave Davies invented at 17. Proto-heavy metal, proto-punk, proto-everything that came after.
Lord, have a set me free. I always wanna be by your side.
Let's look at the numbers. Only 9% of you are actually subscribed. Honestly, that's tough to see. Our team spends days hunting down archives and verifying every single fact just to tell these stories right. If you've made it this far into the video, you're clearly part of the community, so please hit subscribe. It costs nothing and helps us immensely. Now, for those already subscribed, very few of you have made the jump to our membership, and that's a hard pill to swallow because you're the ones who know our value best. If this channel has moved you or inspired you, consider joining. It's the price of one coffee, but it's the literal fuel for this channel. Let's keep this alive together. Back to the story.
Number 8, I Can't Get No Satisfaction. The Rolling Stones, 1965. Keith Richards woke up in a hotel room, recorded 2 minutes of guitar, then went back to sleep for 40 minutes. When he listened back the next morning, he had no memory of writing it. May 1965. The Stones are on their 3rd U.S. tour. Keith's staying at the Fort Harrison Hotel in Clearwater, Florida. Middle of the night, that riff drops into his head. He grabs his guitar and a portable cassette recorder, plays it once, mutters, "I can't get no satisfaction," and crashes. The tape runs out. 40 minutes of snoring follows that riff. 4 days later, Mick Jagger writes the lyrics in 10 minutes by a hotel pool. 4 days after that, they record it. Keith doesn't think much of it. He's imagining horns playing that riff later, treating the fuzzbox guitar as a placeholder, but producer Andrew Loog Oldham and the rest of the band outvote him. The fuzz stays. June 1965. Satisfaction enters the Billboard chart at number 67. 5 weeks later is number 1. Stays there for 4 weeks. The Gibson Fuzzbox sells out completely by the end of the year because every guitarist in the world wants that sound. Then here's what's wild. When the Stones performed it on Shindig, they censored the line, "trying to make some girl." When they did it on Ed Sullivan a year later, they didn't censor anything. By 2006, when they played the Super Bowl halftime show, Satisfaction was the only song they didn't censor because somewhere between 1965 and now, that song stopped being dangerous and started being essential. The riff that Keith doesn't remember writing becomes the second greatest song of all time according to Rolling Stone. Not bad for a placeholder. If you've ever felt that specific frustration, the kind where nothing scratches the itch, you know exactly what Jagger's singing about. Still relevant, still raw, still dissatisfied. Number 7, My Generation, The Who, 1965. The stutter in My Generation wasn't planned. Roger Daltrey couldn't hear himself through the monitors, got nervous, and started stuttering to fit the words to the music. Producer Shel Talmy said, "Keep it." The BBC banned the song for being offensive to people who stutter. But here's the real story behind that stutter. Pete Townshend wrote My Generation on May 19th, 1965, his 20th birthday, on a train from London to Southampton. He was furious. The Queen Mother had his 1935 Packard hearse towed because she didn't like looking at it. So Pete sat down on that train and channeled every ounce of post-war youth rage into 3 minutes. October 13th, 1965. The Who recorded at IBC Studios. They tried 2 takes without the stutter. Sounds okay, sounds normal. Then Roger starts stuttering and the whole thing catches fire. Kit Lambert their manager, jumps out of the booth. Keep that in. The song peaks at number 2 in the UK, number 74 in the US, but those chart numbers don't capture what my generation actually did. It gave an entire generation permission to tell their parents to fade away. It featured one of the first bass solos in rock history. John Entwistle shredding on his Fender Jazz after breaking 3 down electro basses trying to record it. And the ending. Keith Moon's drums, Pete's guitar feedback doesn't fade out clean. It detonates. Rolling Stone ranks it number 11 on the 500 greatest songs of all time. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame calls it one of the songs that shaped rock. The Grammy Hall of Fame inducts it for being historically and artistically significant. And if you're nodding right now thinking about that line, I hope I die before I get old, Pete later said old didn't mean age. It meant rich, complacent, settled. The kind of death that happens while you're still breathing. You know that feeling, the song still got it. Number 6, Light My Fire, The Doors, 1967.
I would be a liar if I was to say.
Light My Fire was 7 minutes and 6 seconds long. Radio stations weren't supposed to play anything over 3 minutes. They played it anyway. January 1967. The Doors released their debut album. Light My Fire is buried as a deep cut. Too long, too weird, too much organ solo, but LA radio stations start getting requests. Lots of requests. Listeners who bought the album want to hear it on the radio. The label realizes they have something. Producer Paul Rothchild takes scissors to the tape, literally. Chops out most of the instrumental break, gets it down to 2 minutes 52 seconds. That version goes to radio in April. By July 29th, 1967, it's number 1. Stays there for 3 weeks. First number 1 hit for Elektra Records. Then here's the beautiful part. The Doors were supposed to change a line for Ed Sullivan. Girl, we couldn't get much higher. The sponsors thought it referenced drugs. Jim Morrison said he'd change it. Got on stage, sang it exactly as written. The Doors were never invited back. Robbie Krieger wrote most of it. His first song for the band. Jim Morrison told him to write something universal, something that wouldn't go out of style. Krieger thought about the 4 elements: earth, air, fire, water. Picked fire because he liked the Stones' song Play with Fire. Ray Manzarek's organ intro was based on Bach. The extended solos in the middle came from John Coltrane's My Favorite Things. You know that intro, those first few organ notes, the way the song builds and builds until it feels like it might consume everything in the room. Jim Morrison got tired of playing it live, but audiences never did. If you've ever been at a stadium show where 60,000 people sing along to something, you know how Light My Fire feels when it hits. That collective ignition still burns. Number 5, Purple Haze, Jimi Hendrix, 1967. Jimi Hendrix wrote Purple Haze in a dressing room on December 26, 1966, Boxing Day. He'd been playing with the riff for about 10 days. Producer Chas Chandler heard it and said, "That's the next single, write the rest of that." Jimmy sat down and wrote 10 pages of lyrics. 10. About a dream he had where he was walking under the sea. The version we know is a fraction of what he wrote. Chandler helped him cut it down. Hendrix recorded it on January 11, 1967 at Olympic Studios in London. But here's what makes Purple Haze untouchable: the Octavia pedal. Roger Mayer, an acoustic engineer, introduced Hendrix to this effect that could double the guitar signal an octave higher. First time Hendrix used it was on the Purple Haze solo. That sound, like the guitars tearing a hole in the universe, had never been heard before. March 1967. Purple Haze releases in the UK, hits number 3. In the US, it only reaches 65, but that chart position is a lie. What Purple Haze actually did was rewrite the rule book for what an electric guitar could sound like. Hendrix took distortion, feedback, and effects pedals and turned them into a new language. And here's the genius. Hendrix always said the song wasn't about drugs. It was about a dream, about walking under the sea. But the ambiguity is the point.
Excuse me while I kiss this guy.
Purple Haze all in my brain means whatever you need it to mean. The BBC played it. Underground FM radio played it constantly. The song became the soundtrack to 1967, whether Hendrix intended it or not. If you've ever heard someone play guitar and thought, how is that even possible? You're hearing what Hendrix started with, Purple Haze. Every guitarist since has been chasing that sound. Most still haven't caught it. Number 4, All Along the Watchtower, Jimi Hendrix, 1968. Bob Dylan wrote All Along the Watchtower. Jimi Hendrix made it his. January 1968, Hendrix gets a pre-release tape of Dylan's new album, John Wesley Harding, sits down with his engineers at Olympic Studios in London and can't sit still. Keeps changing chord patterns, rearranging sections, erasing tracks, re-recording. Bass player Noel Redding walks out during the session. Hendrix plays the bass himself. Brian Jones from the Rolling Stones stops by, adds percussion. By the time Hendrix finishes, he's used 16 tracks for mixing. The song releases in September 1968. Hits number 20 in the US, number 5 in the UK, becomes Hendrix's highest charting American single. Here's what Dylan said when he heard it. It overwhelmed me, really. He had such talent. He could find things inside a song and vigorously develop them. He probably improved upon it by the spaces he was using. I took license with the song from his version, actually, and continue to do it to this day. Bob Dylan, one of the greatest songwriters in history, in which they say admits that Hendrix's version is definitive. Dylan's been performing it Hendrix's way since Jimmy died. Every time Dylan sings it, he says it feels like a tribute. That's not just a cover. That's a complete reimagining. Dylan's version is stark, acoustic, haunted. Hendrix's version is apocalyptic. The guitar doesn't accompany the story. It becomes the story. Those sliding, wailing notes sound like civilization collapsing in real time. And if you're wondering why this song still shows up in movies, TV shows, video games, Battlestar Galactica used it in the series finale, it's because Hendrix tapped into something timeless. The Watchtower, the thief, and the Joker. The sense that something's ending and we're all just watching it happen. You know that guitar intro. You know exactly where this is going the second it starts. Still gets you every time. Number 3, Sunshine of Your Love, Cream, to 1968. Jack Bruce and Pete Brown worked all night trying to write a song. Nothing was working. Dawn started breaking. Bruce, exhausted and desperate, grabbed his upright bass and played a riff. Pete Brown looked out the window at the sunrise and said, "It's getting near dawn." That's how Sunshine of Your Love started, January 1967. Eric Clapton said Bruce created that riff right after attending a Jimi Hendrix concert at the Saville Theater, came home inspired and couldn't stop playing. But here's the problem. When they first played it live, it was fast, upbeat, almost jazzy. Drummer Ginger Baker hated it, told them to slow it way down, added that distinctive tom-tom pattern, boom, boom, bom, bom, inspired by Native American drumming. Suddenly, the song had weight, had menace, had that riff that sounds like it's crawling towards you. Cream records it in May 1967 for Disraeli Gears. The label doesn't think it's a hit, leaves it off the initial single release. Then Otis Redding and Booker T hear it being rehearsed at Atlantic Records and push for its release. December 1967, Sunshine of Your Love finally drops as a single, charts at 36. Then in August 1968, when Wheels of Fire releases, the song re-enters the chart and climbs to number 5, becomes Cream's only gold-selling single in the United States. And here's the thing about that riff. It's based on a D blues scale with a flattened fifth. Simple, primal. But the way Clapton and Bruce lock in, the way Baker's drums push it forward, makes it feel inevitable. Like the song's always existed and they just discovered it. Jimi Hendrix loved it so much he'd break into it randomly during his sets. On a BBC show in 1969, Hendrix stopped playing Hey Joe mid-performance and said, "We'd like to stop playing this rubbish and dedicate a song to Cream." Played Sunshine of Your Love until the show ran out of time. If you felt that riff in your chest before you heard it in your ears, you know, still hypnotic, still crawling. Number 2, Born to Be Wild, Steppenwolf, 1968. Mars Bonfire wrote Born to Be Wild about his first car, a beat-up Ford Falcon, not a motorcycle, not a Harley roaring down the highway, a Ford Falcon. Here's how it happened. Bonfire, real name Dennis Edmonton, is driving through California in a thunderstorm. The term heavy metal pops into his head from the periodic table he learned in school. He writes the line, heavy metal thunder, racing with the wind, gets home, writes the rest, records a demo on a borrowed reel-to-reel recorder in a whisper so he doesn't wake anyone up. Nobody wants it. He shops it to publishers across LA. Everyone passes. Finally, as a last resort, he mails the tape to his brother Jerry, who drums for Steppenwolf. The band hears it, transforms it, speeds it up, adds that snarling guitar. John Kay's voice turns it from a ballad into a war cry. January 1968, Steppenwolf releases their debut album. Born to Be Wild is the third single, hits number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 in August, held off the top spot by the Rascals' People Got to Be Free. In Canada, it goes to number 1. Then 1969 happens. Dennis Hopper uses Born to Be Wild in Easy Rider, opens the movie with Peter Fonda and Dennis Hopper on motorcycles, this song blasting. Suddenly, Born to Be Wild isn't just a hit, it's the biker anthem, the rebellion anthem, the freedom anthem. And here's the irony that makes it perfect. The song that became the ultimate motorcycle song was written about a car by a guy who'd never been on a bike when he wrote it. The song that gave heavy metal its name was supposed to have horns playing that riff. The song that sounds like pure adrenaline was whispered into a tape recorder at night. If you've ever felt that urge to just get out, doesn't matter where, doesn't matter how, you know what Born to Be Wild taps into, that restlessness, that refusal to be pinned down.
We can climb so
Number 1, Hey Jude, The Beatles, 1968.
And anytime you feel the pain, hey Jude.
Paul McCartney wrote Hey Jude for a 5-year-old boy whose parents were getting divorced. The boy's name was Julian Lennon. His dad, John Lennon, had left his mom, Cynthia, for Yoko Ono. Summer 1968. Paul's driving out to visit Cynthia and Julian, feels terrible about the situation, starts singing in the car. Hey Jules, don't make it bad, take a sad song and make it better. Changes the name to Jude because it sounds better. Finishes the song, shows it to John. John loves it. Even the line Paul thought was weak, the movement you need is on your shoulder. John insists they keep it, says it's the best line in the song. July 31st and August 1st, 1968. The Beatles record Hey Jude at Trident Studios with a 36-piece orchestra. The song runs over 7 minutes. Nobody releases 7-minute singles. Radio won't play it. Paul and producer George Martin don't care. The song is what it is. August 1968. Hey Jude release. Enters the Billboard Hot 100 at number 10. Week 2, it's at number 3. Week 3, number 1. Stays there for 9 weeks. 9. The longest running number 1 single by a rock act in the entire 1960s. The Beatles' longest running number 1 ever. And here's what makes Hey Jude untouchable, that ending. 4 minutes of na 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 na. The orchestra, the crowd, Paul's voice climbing higher, everyone singing together. It shouldn't work. 4 minutes of the same refrain should get boring. Instead, it becomes transcendent. The song was written for one 5-year-old boy. Julian Lennon didn't even know it was about him until years later, but millions of people have used it for their own pain, their own breakups, their own moments of trying to take something sad and make it better. Bob Dylan heard it and realized rock songs didn't have to be 3 minutes. The length is the point. The repetition is the point. The song earns every second. If you've ever sung that Nana part with a crowd, then you know what Hey Jude does. It doesn't just play. It gathers people. Still does. Every single time.